This is a few pointers about how to make effective slides so that you can actually persuade people of what you're doing. First thing we need to understand is, why are we making this slideshow? Why does this deck exist? The reason: we want to persuade people, we want to inform them, we want to inspire them. That's what we're about. That's why we're making this presentation. We have something we want them to believe. What this is not, it is not a dump of every piece of data or every thought that you've ever had that you can cram on 100 slides into a 20-minute talk. It's not a data dump. A slideshow is not a list of speaking notes from which you can deliver an uninspired reading of previously assembled information without any serious preparation on your part. It's a presentation. It's not a public reading. It is not a demonstration of every cool technique that you can make PowerPoint do. Showing off your PowerPoint skills is not the goal. What we want is, we want our audience to understand some set of concepts, and we want them to believe what it is we have to tell them. Okay, so here's some points that will help. First thing, 1 slide per minute, on average. A presentation is not a race. Your goal is not to get as many slides in as possible. You want clarity. You want not speed. You want ideas to be communicated. You want them to believe those ideas. 1 slide per minute, except when you have a series of points that you'd really like to make that constitute one idea together. We'll see an example of that as we go on in this slideshow. 1 slide, 1 idea. Don't list a whole bunch of things on a slide and make it really dense. 1 slide, 1 idea, keep it simple. Now, one of the things that people who prepare slideshows forget is that we cannot read and listen at the same time. Those two activities conflict with each other. So what happens is, if you put a lot of junk up on your slides that people are supposed to read, they'll stop listening to you while they read it. Or they'll listen to you and be frustrated about the fact that they can't understand what it is you're trying to say. You can't listen and read at the same time. So don't make your audience choose. So here's some ideas as to how to deal with that. First thing is the 3-second glance. If you take a slide and they can comprehend it in 1, 2, 3 seconds, that's good. That's a great slide, because they now know what it is, the key point that you're trying to make. Here's a bad example. Chocolate fights heart disease. There's a lot of good things we should understand about chocolate. I'm done with this slide. I'm ready to move on, and you're reading. Do not do this. Here's an alternative. Chocolate helps you fight heart disease. Chocolate can help alleviate the symptoms of PMS. Now, when I get done with that demonstration on chocolate, do you believe what I was talking about was chocolate? And the answer is yes. Very few words, very clear point. Okay, here's what else we can do. Bigger text, fewer words. Never use text smaller than 24 point. Few words, big text, make simple points. Simplicity is the key to slides. That doesn't mean you're teaching simple concepts. What it means is, it means your slides are simple. People are not struggling to understand what you mean in this slide and where the important points are. No animation. Animation doesn't help. There are some very special cases, but think twice, think 3 times before you put animation in there. Almost always animation is a demonstration of PowerPoint prowess, not something that really adds to your presentation. Do not use every font you've ever seen. You've got limited, clear fonts. 2 font styles at most in your slide deck. 3 or 4 sizes at most. And make sure these fonts are clear ones, easy to read. We don't want cool, we don't want amazing, we don't want spiffy. We want them easy to read. consistent, limited use of color. Color can add a lot of things, but if you've got 25 different colors and they're all over the place, and you've got all sorts of crazy, bright, highly saturated things, people will get tired of watching your colors. No fancy backgrounds. This is a nice textured wood feel. We can feel good about it, and it's really hard to read that text. This really distracts from your message. This one's even worse. Lots of texture. Most of you are having a hard time pulling out the words, no fancy backgrounds. Texture again. Remember those templates that you get in PowerPoint? Almost all of them are garbage. Here's an example of one. It's swirly. It's cool. It contributes nothing to the message and makes everything else hard to read. Fancy backgrounds? Get rid of them. Keep it simple. Simple, simple, simple. Now, remember that your slides are a visual experience, and what you want is visual clarity. They're not a textual experience, they're a visual experience. You want to show and not tell. If you've got a piece of software that you're telling people about, get it up on the screen. Show people what it is you're talking about. If you've got a device that you're trying to manufacture, show people the device. Show them what you're talking about. That's the most important thing for your slides, not the words. Show them, give them a visual context. If there's something specific, point it out. Don't make them figure out what your slide is about. Make it absolutely crystal clear. We're talking about this part of the crankshaft right here, right now. Okay, now having gone through a slideshow, one of the problems you have is that everybody's forgetting what you said. So the last principle is repeat. Say it over again. If it's important enough to make this presentation, it's important enough to guarantee that people understand. What's our purpose? Our purpose is to persuade, to inform, and to inspire. We're trying to get some concepts across to our audience. Key ideas? 1 slide per minute. 1 slide, 1 idea. Slides, can I comprehend it in a 3-second glance? Think billboards, not reports. Simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. And then use clear visuals that illustrate what it is you're talking about. Let them see rather than just hear words. And last of all, repeat. Remember, you're a storyteller, not a data deliverer. Good luck with your slides.